They say the face of evil is not always ugly. Sometimes it smiles like family. Sometimes it opens its arms and calls you my child. In many homes, there are stories no one tells. Stories that hide behind closed doors. This is one of them. It began on a bright morning with laughter and the sound of a mother's voice. A mother packing a small bag for her daughter, folding clothes, folding hope. Listen to your uncle, she said. He is a good man. Be polite, be kind. Her words were full of love and trust. The girl nodded, smiling. She was excited. The city was far, but she dreamed of tall buildings and shining lights. She did not know that behind one of those lights waited a shadow, not from the night, but from someone she called family. As the car drove away, the mother waved, tears in her eyes. She believed she was sending her daughter to a better life, but the truth was different. What happens when the person you trust most becomes the one you must fear? When silence becomes a prison and a child's voice is locked behind shame and confusion. Tonight we tell the story of Amara, a story that could be anyone's story, a story that still happens in quiet homes across many lands. This is not a tale of magic, it is a tale of truth and the courage to speak when fear says stay quiet. So listen closely, for the fire remembers and the wind carries every cry ever left unheard. This is the hyena in Uncle's skin. Morning came softly to the plains of Njoro. The sun rose over the red roofs, and the smoke from cooking fires danced in the wind. In a small clay house at the edge of the village lived a young girl named Amara. She was 10, full of questions, full of dreams. Every morning she helped her mother fetch water from the stream. They walked side by side, their feet pressing small shapes into the wet sand. Her mother, Mama Tendo, was known by all strong hands, kind eyes. She worked hard, sold vegetables at the market, and still found time to sing. When the day was quiet, you could hear her voice rise over the fields. Amara would laugh and try to sing along, her voice thin but bright. For them, life was simple, but it was filled with love. They did not have much, but they had each other. Mama Tendo often told her, when the heart is clean, even a small meal tastes sweet. On this morning though, something was different. There were folded clothes on the bed. A small bag stood near the door. Amara watched as her mother packed her things, a few dresses, her worn sandals, a small comb, and a piece of blue cloth tied by hand. Mama, she said, why are you folding all my clothes? Her mother stopped and looked at her gently. My child, she said, you are growing. You must learn new things. Your uncle, Chief Baraka, has asked that you come stay with him in the city. He will help you go to school. You will see tall buildings and lights that never go off. Amara's eyes widened. The city, she said softly, with real cars and big houses. Mama Tendo smiled. Yes, my daughter. The city. It is far, but your uncle is a good man. Respect him. Obey him. Remember what I've taught you. Greet your elders. Speak truth. And never forget where you come from. Amara nodded, still half in wonder. She had heard stories of the city, of food wrapped in paper, of roads that shined like rivers. In her heart, she felt both fear and excitement. Outside, a car approached slowly through the dusty road. The neighbors peeked through their doors. They rarely saw cars that clean. Mama Tendo wiped her hands on her wrapper and said quietly, that will be your uncle. The car stopped at their gate. Chief Baraka stepped out smiling. His shirt was pressed, his shoes shiny. Sister, he said warmly, you look well. And this must be my little Amara. Amara bent her knees in greeting the way her mother taught her. Good morning, uncle, she said shyly. He laughed softly. You've grown so tall. You will love the city. Mama Tendo's smile hid a little sadness. The road to the city was long. She knew visits would be rare. Together they placed Amara's small bag in the car. The morning sun touched everything. The roof, the road, the tears in the mother's eyes. She knelt beside her daughter and held her close. My child, she said, her voice trembling a little, remember what I always tell you. Respect your elders. Be humble. But listen to your spirit. If your heart ever feels wrong about something, don't keep quiet. You hear me? Amara nodded, though she did not fully understand. Mama Tendo kissed her forehead. May the ancestors guide your steps. As the car rolled away, the girl looked back through the window. Her mother waved until the dust hid her from view. In the back seat, Amara pressed her face to the glass. The trees, the goats, the children waving, they all slipped away behind her. Ahead lay the road to the city, a road full of dreams and danger she did not yet know. The journey had begun. The road stretched long and wide, cutting through the plains like a brown ribbon. Dust rose behind the car and floated in the sunlight. Amara sat by the window, her chin on her hand. Every new sight filled her eyes with wonder. The mountains stood far away, quiet and heavy, like sleeping beasts guarding the horizon. Rivers curved through green fields. Children waved from the roadside. Women carried baskets on their heads, walking with easy grace. Each turn brought something she had never seen before. Is this still Njoro? She asked softly. Uncle Baraka smiled. No, my child. We've left the plains. Soon you will see the city. Amara nodded, excitement bubbling inside her. For hours they drove. The sun climbed high and the road turned smooth and shiny. The houses grew closer together. By late afternoon, tall poles lined the road, holding wires that hummed like insects. She saw signs, shops, and crowds of people moving faster than anyone in her village. The car windows filled with new colors, red buses, bright dresses, and flashing lights. Amara pressed her small hand against the glass. It's so big, she whispered. Baraka laughed softly. You'll get used to it. This is the city of light. Here, everything moves. But as the sun began to fall, the lights of the city grew sharper, colder. Horns sounded without pause. Strangers hurried by, faces blank, eyes fixed on their own paths. Amara's smile faded. In the village, even strangers greeted you. Here, no one looked twice. The noise filled her head, car horns, shouting, engines. It felt like the whole city was talking at once, and she could not understand its language. She looked at her uncle. He was still smiling, but his eyes were far away, fixed on the road. We're here, he said. The car turned into a quiet street lined with tall gates. At the end stood a large house, walls painted white, roof shining in the setting sun. Amara's mouth opened in surprise. Uncle, your house is like a school, she said. He laughed, pleased. It's home, my little sunshine. You'll like it here. The gate opened slowly. Inside, the ground was paved with smooth stones. There was a garden with flowers that looked too perfect to touch. A house girl came to carry the bag. The woman bowed her head slightly to Baraka, then glanced at Amara with a small smile. Inside, everything shone: glass tables, soft chairs, pictures on every wall. The air smelled of polish and something sweet from the kitchen. Amara felt shy. She held her hands together and stood still. Baraka led her to the dining room. Sit, eat, he said kindly. You must be hungry after the long road. A plate of rice and stew waited on the table. She ate quietly, glancing around. On the wall hung a large photo of her uncle's family, his wife, 2 children, all smiling. "Where's Aunt Nuru?" Amara asked. "She travels often for work," Baraka said, "but she loves children." "You will meet her soon," Amara nodded. She was still thinking about the city outside, so full of light but somehow empty too. After the meal, Baraka showed her the guest room. The bed was soft, the sheets smelled new. "Rest," he said. "Tomorrow we'll go buy your school things." He smiled again, a long smile that stayed even after he turned away. Amara watched him close the door. His voice still sounded kind, but something inside her chest tightened. She lay down and stared at the ceiling fan turning slowly. The hum of the city reached through the window, constant, restless. She missed the crickets, the frogs, the slow rhythm of her village nights. In the half-dark, her mother's words came back to her. "Respect your uncle, but listen to your spirit." She closed her eyes. The fan turned. Somewhere outside, a dog barked once, then stopped. And the house felt quiet, too quiet for a home so full of light. Morning light crept through the window and touched Amara's face. She blinked, sat up and looked around. For a moment she forgot where she was. The bed was soft, the curtains heavy, the air smelled strange like perfume and soap. Then she remembered. The city, Uncle Baraka's house. Downstairs she heard voices. She washed her face, brushed her hair, and walked quietly to the kitchen. There she met 2 children, a boy and a girl, both younger than her. "Are you my uncle's children?" she asked softly. The boy grinned. "Yes, I'm Kato, and this is my sister, Leila." Leila waved, her face full of excitement. "You're from the village, right? Mama said you'll stay with us." Amara smiled back. "Yes, I'm from Njoro." They stared at her with curiosity, then began to ask 100 questions about goats, rivers, trees, and why village people walk barefoot. Amara laughed for the first time since she left home. She told them about catching grasshoppers and swimming in the stream. For a while she forgot her worries. The children played with her in the yard, chasing each other through the flowers. Uncle Baraka came out to watch them. He stood by the doorway, arms crossed, smiling. "You see," he said, "the city is not so bad." Amara nodded, still holding the ball. "It's nice, Uncle." He patted her head gently. "Good girl," he said. "Now go help Leila wash her hands for lunch." His touch was light, but something in it made her pause. She pushed the thought aside and ran off with the others. Lunch was full of laughter. Baraka cracked jokes. The children shouted over each other. For a moment, he seemed just like any other father. After the meal, Amara helped clear the table. Baraka watched her from across the room. His eyes stayed longer than they should have. Days passed. Amara learned city routines, how to set the table, how to use the tap instead of the bucket, how to greet visitors politely. She began to like the children. They shared stories, did homework together, and played outside after school. But sometimes when she laughed too loud, she felt Baraka's eyes on her, watching, waiting. He was kind in front of everyone, but there were moments when his smile felt strange, too long, too quiet. At night, Amara stayed in her room and listened to the city sounds outside. She missed her mother's voice calling her for supper. One evening, Baraka's wife, Aunt Nuru, came home from a trip. The house became bright again. Her voice filled every corner. She hugged Amara warmly and gave her sweets. "You are welcome here," she said. "Baraka told me you are a good girl." Amara smiled, relieved. With Aunt Nuru around, she felt safe. But Aunt Nuru did not stay long. Her work took her away often. She came home only a few days each month. When she left again, the house became quiet. Too quiet. One afternoon, Amara was sweeping the living room when Baraka entered. He asked where the children were. "They went to play outside," she said. He nodded slowly, walked closer, then picked a speck of dust from her shoulder. "You're doing well," he said softly. "Your mother raised you right." Amara smiled nervously and stepped back. "Thank you, Uncle," she whispered. "Don't be shy," he said. "We're family." Then he turned and left the room, humming. She stood still for a long time, her broom frozen midair. Something in her chest felt heavy. That night she dreamed of her mother. In the dream, Mama Tendo was calling her name from far away, but Amara couldn't find her in the dark. In the morning, the feeling remained. The house was bright, full of light and laughter, but underneath it all, there was a quiet she could not explain. Uncle Baraka still smiled, but his eyes, they no longer felt kind. The days went on like these small moments that didn't fit. When she walked into a room, he always seemed to be there. When she helped the children with homework, he found a reason to stand nearby. The children never noticed. They loved their father, trusted him, laughed around him. Amara tried to do the same. She told herself she was imagining things. Maybe this is just how city people behave, she thought. But deep inside, she knew something was not right. And for the first time since she arrived, the house that once looked beautiful began to feel too large, too quiet, and no longer safe. Night fell heavy over the city. The wind moved around the house like something searching for a way in. Amara sat on her bed holding her school book. She was not reading, her eyes were fixed on the window. A voice came softly through the quiet. "Amara." It was Uncle Baraka. "Yes, Uncle," she answered, standing quickly. "Come to my study. I want to talk to you." Her stomach tightened. The house was too still. Even the clock seemed to have stopped. She walked down the hallway, her bare feet touching the cold tiles. The light from the study spilled across the floor, yellow and unsteady. She stopped at the door. "You called me, Uncle." "Yes," he said. "Come in." She stepped inside. The room smelled of paper and polish. Books lined the walls. On the desk, a single lamp flickered, throwing long shadows. Baraka sat behind the desk. His face looked calm, almost kind, but his eyes followed her closely, never blinking. "Close the door," he said. She hesitated. "Should I?" "Yes," he said softly. "The wind is strong tonight." Amara stood near the chair, holding her hands together. "Do you like it here?" Baraka asked. "Yes, Uncle," she said quickly. "Good," he said. "You are a good girl." Obedient. Respectful. His voice was calm, but the air felt thick. He stood up slowly and walked around the desk. His shadow stretched long across the wall. "Your mother must be proud," he whispered. Amara looked down. Her throat felt dry. "She taught you to obey, didn't she?" he said. "Yes, Uncle." "That is good. Always obey your elders." She nodded, her fingers twisting together. The lamp flickered again. In the light, his shadow moved, large, uneven, almost animal. For a moment, it looked like something else. The shape of a hyena, its head bowed low, its mouth open in a silent laugh. Amara's heart began to beat fast. She blinked, trying to clear her eyes, but the shadow still moved on the wall, breathing with him. He stepped closer. "You're afraid?" he asked quietly. She shook her head, though her voice trembled. "No, Uncle," he smiled. "Good girl." He reached for her hand. In her mind, she heard her mother's voice, "Be obedient. Respect your uncle, but never silence the voice of your spirit." Her breath caught, her spirit screamed at her to run. but her feet stayed still. He moved closer, the lamp flickering between them. The shadow of the hyena stretched up the wall, its mouth opening wider, teeth glinting in the light. Amara's heart pounded. Just then, a sound broke the stillness. "Amara!" It was Leila's voice, bright and clear, coming from outside the door. "Amara, come and see! The moon is red!" Baraka froze. The shadow on the wall shifted, then disappeared. He stepped back quickly. His smile returned calm, harmless. "Go," he said, his voice even. "The children are calling you." Amara hesitated. He nodded toward the door. "Go on." She turned the handle and stepped out, her breath shaking. The air in the hallway felt cold and sharp. The children stood by the window, pointing at the sky. "Look," Leila said, "it's red just like fire." Amara looked up. The moon hung heavy and red, glowing through a thin layer of cloud. Behind her, the study door closed softly. She did not look back, but as she stood there beside the children, her hands trembled. She felt the same weight she once felt when a hyena passed near her mother's farm at night unseen, but close. She looked at the moon and whispered to herself, "Spirit, don't let me sleep too deeply tonight." Inside the house, lights flickered and the quiet returned. The hyena had shown its teeth, but only for a moment, and Amara knew deep inside that this was only the beginning. Morning came softly over the city. Light touched the walls, but not Amara's heart. Days passed one after another, each one quieter than the last. Amara no longer laughed with the children. She no longer sang while sweeping the floor. She moved through the house like a shadow, always listening, always waiting. When Uncle Baraka passed, she lowered her eyes. When he smiled, she turned her face away. No one noticed. To the others, she was just shy, but inside something had changed, something small but sharp, like a thorn under the skin. At night, she began to dream. In her dreams, the forest grew thick around her. The moon hung low and red, and somewhere in the dark she heard breathing, a hyena's laugh. It followed her step for step. Its eyes glowed behind the trees. She ran, calling for her mother, but her voice made no sound. The trees whispered instead voices she could not see, calling her name from all directions. She woke with tears on her face and the taste of fear in her mouth. Each morning she sat by the window after cleaning. She watched people outside, mothers with children, workers going to the market. She wondered if anyone could see her fear. Sometimes she whispered under her breath, "The ancestors, do you see me?" Her voice was so soft it could have been the wind. One afternoon, the sound of laughter came from the gate. Aunt Nuru had returned. Her suitcase rolled across the tiles. Her perfume filled the air. "Amara," she called warmly. "Come here, my dear. You've grown." Amara smiled, though her smile was thin. Aunt Nuru hugged her tightly. "I brought you sweets." Baraka appeared in the hallway, his voice calm and welcoming. "My love, you are home." He kissed her cheek, his eyes never meeting Amara's. That evening, the house was full of noise again. Laughter, stories, the smell of food. Amara sat quietly beside the children, her eyes on her plate. Once Aunt Nuru turned to her. "You look tired, Amara. Are you sleeping well?" Amara froze. Her hands trembled slightly. Baraka looked up from across the table. His face was calm, smiling, but his eyes told her what to do. She lowered her gaze. "Yes, Aunt. I'm fine. Good," Aunt Nuru said kindly, unaware of the storm behind those words. "If you need anything, you tell me, Amara nodded. "Yes, Aunt." Later that night, when everyone slept, she stood by the window again. The city lights blinked like faraway stars. She whispered, "Mother, I wish you could see me." Her breath left a small cloud on the glass, and far away the wind outside answered with a long, low sigh like an old spirit breathing. In her silence, the beast fed. Every day she kept her pain hidden, it grew stronger. For the mouth that keeps pain silent feeds the beast in shadows. Amara closed her eyes, and for the first time she prayed not for courage but for someone, anyone to see her. Amara nodded, tears shining in her eyes. "I thought I was disobedient," she said softly. Her mother shook her head. "No, my daughter. Courage is not disrespect. It is the voice that guards your soul when fear tries to keep it silent." Together they walked toward the road, back toward the plains, back toward home. Amara looked back once at the city, its towers rising behind the morning mist. "Mama," she whispered, "will I ever forget?" Mama tender squeezed her hand. "No," she said, "well, you will heal. And healing is the gift of those who dare to speak." And so the child of Njoro learned the weight of silence and the strength of truth. For when the mouth opens in courage, the shadows have nowhere left to hide. The fire burns low now, the night is quiet. The story of Amara has been told. So my children, remember this. Not all smiles are kind. Not every elder is wise. Obedience without wisdom is the seed of sorrow. When the heart whispers, listen, for even the smallest voice can chase away the hyena. The ancestors teach that truth walks slowly, but it always finds its way home. Amara's courage did not just save her life, it opened the eyes of many who had chosen silence. And to those who still hide behind fear, her voice still calls through the firelight, "You are not alone." If you were Amara, would you have spoken out sooner? What lesson do you think the ancestors wanted us to learn tonight? Remember, the fire may die, but the story lives on in you. Subscribe for more tales of truth, courage, and the voices that refuse to be silenced.